On this round of STV, I am taking it off. We're about to embark on another epic adventure to New Brunswick, and we got to get a bunch of sleds ready, but I don't have to do a thing. I'm going to absolutely love this show.
STV is brought to you by Yamaha, revs your heart. Polaris, think outside. Ford F-Series, Canada's best-selling line of pickup trucks for 56 years. Tough, smart, capable.
So the team and I are about to embark on another epic snowmobiling adventure to one of our most favorite places to ride, the province of New Brunswick. But this time, we're headed to the Christmas Mountains, an area that they just recently opened up to snowmobiles, so we're really looking forward to that. But before we go, we got to get some of our ducks in a row. Polaris ducks, to be precise. We're just a couple of days away from getting on the road to head to New Brunswick. We have 2 new units and 2 older ones as well. The new sleds just got to the edge and are going through the PDI process, and the older ones need a good once-over to make sure they're good to go before we go. But before we get to wrenching, or I should say, before the guys here at the Edge Performance Centre in Bradford, Ontario get to work, I want to tell you a little bit about where we're headed with this fleet. New Brunswick is our destination, a place that STV has been to in the past, but not for a while now. And we know how good the trails are there and are looking forward to getting back to the system that the New Brunswick Federation of Snowmobile Clubs has put together.
So we have a great season here. We always have snow. And I mean, it typically starts in late November, and I mean really starts in November, especially in our high ground in our Christmas Mountains and near our Mount Carlton. And it goes in that same area right till the middle and end of April every year. In 2019, the first snowmobiles were into one of our remote lodges on October the 24th. So it's very normal for this area to have solid 3 months within the municipalities, 4 months and up to 5 months in the high ground. So the reason it attracts people is because it is so interconnected. I've had the great privilege of snowmobiling across North America and across Canada. And because we connect directly to Nova Scotia, and directly to Prince Edward Island, and directly to Maine, and directly to Quebec, and thus to the rest of Canada, it allows people to come here, and whether it's for a weekend or whether it's for 7 days or 5 days, that interconnectivity. And so that ability to tour and that ability to see different regions in New Brunswick and to experience all of New Brunswick, both east and west and north and south, is a great advantage we have here in New Brunswick with the trail system. So there's all kinds of different types of touring that you can do here. I mean, you can do that day trip, okay? But you also can do that weekend trip, or you can do that 3-day weekend trip, or you can do that longer. Because we've got loops that could be 100 or 150 kilometers. We have 200-kilometer loops. We have the 300-kilometer loops. And so that allows you to go from community to community, okay? Or it allows you to kind of stay in one place and kind of be the same hotel every night. But ultimately, there's all kinds of options, and all those options attract all kinds of different people, all kinds of different skills, and allow everybody to come here and have an enjoyment at the level they enjoy. Snowmobiling in New Brunswick has become extremely important, and the reason for that is because it's attracting so many people, both from Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, but we're seeing the markets of Quebec and Ontario grow and grow and grow. through many partnerships over the years, both with the province and our federation, obviously the businesses and especially our clubs and volunteers, everybody's bought in. And that buy-in has brought more and more people here, and we say that snowmobiling is New Brunswick's winter tourism. We learned very early on that to be successful in New Brunswick, not only for our clubs and for our local people, but also to attract people to this province, what we were going to have to do was we were going to have to focus on the tourism aspect and all the resources that New Brunswick had. Used to kid with a Minister of Natural Resources. I said, sir, snow's a natural resource. And we've had that buy-in from many, many governments, both provincially and federally over the years. And so through that, and through watching what others did and not making the same mistakes, New Brunswick has now brought itself to a level that we can be proud of both here and for anybody that wants to come here. Because the philosophy we have here is that a snowmobiler really only needs three things, okay? One, they want the trail groomed. Everybody wants the trail groomed. Two, they want it signed so they know where they're going. And three, they want a map. Now a map today is all kinds of different things, but they want a map that matches the trail that they're on and the signage. You give them those three things, and I'll tell you, the discussion around at the burger pit or at night around the fireplace will be positive.
Somebody help me find a way to get back home.
Winter is a big part of New Brunswick, and therefore snowmobiling is a huge part of New Brunswick. We've adopted it, and if you're going to live here, you got to love winter. And so what's happened is that snowmobiling's become part of our fabric. It's become part of the fabric of our communities, and so as that develops more and more, our partners and our governments and everybody understands the importance of it, not only for our residents, not only for the people who live here, but for all the people that we attract here as we become known more and more as a destination for winter and thus for snowmobiling. You got a long, long season. You've got all kinds of major centers here. We can entertain you for 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days. You're going to find that the trail signage is impeccable. You're going to find that the grooming is as good as anywhere else. You're going to find that you can do just whatever satisfies you, whether you're an on-trail guy or whether you're a long-distance tour, you're an overnighter, or you want to stay in one place. We have it all. You're going to find the people very friendly. You're going to find the cost less or the same than what you're used to. So step out, make that bucket list trip, make it happen.
For me, the trail system in New Brunswick is just so good. It has everything I'm looking for. The grooming is tight, the signage is spot on, and there's plenty of places to stop for gas and grub. Plus, there's even those special touches on the system like clubhouses that serve some of the best clubhouses I've ever had. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting back there. But first, we got to make sure the sleds are up to the challenge. On an adventure like the one we have coming up, a breakdown would be catastrophic. Not only would a busted buggy make getting the story done for STV on deadline a problem, it would also mean one of us wouldn't be able to ride, and that would be the biggest lunch bag letdown of them all.
This segment is brought to you by Ford.
So normally for any segment that would involve wrench time, I'd be back at my own shop. This time though, I wanted to change things up and come here to the Edge Performance Center in Bradford, Ontario to see how things are done at the dealership. The Edge is one of the supporting dealers for OSM and STV. Now these guys are not far from our company's main campus, so they're an easy choice for us to be our Polaris dealer. They sell the full line of Polaris toys and are well known in the snowmobile world. They're also pretty typical of the type of place that a big portion of snowmobilers out there would bring their machines to for service work. I know not everyone can do their own work on their machines, so I wanted to bring you behind the curtain to show you what goes on at a place like this. So let's go catch up with Craig, the owner of the Edge Performance Center. Craig, talk to me a little bit about Edge Performance Center. I mean, whereabouts are you located and what kind of stuff are you selling here?
So Edge Performance Center is a Polaris and Kawasaki dealership located in Bradford, Ontario. We've been in business for 20 years now, started in 2001. We service most of Central Ontario. We get a good customer base from a wider range as well.
And you're full line Polaris as well, so talk to me about that. What Polaris products are you selling
So
here?
Polaris makes an excellent line of product. We sell the snowmobiles, of course, ATVs, Rangers, Razors, and all the accessories and parts and garments to go with it.
Even generators you have here.
Yes.
You know, the crew that you have working for you.
Yeah.
I want you to shout those folks out a
No,
little bit.
for sure. I'm very lucky as a business owner to have a dedicated staff that's been here for a very long time. And mechanics, we got long-term mechanics have been with us for years and years, and a good bunch of helping hands.
Yeah.
Key to a successful business, I find, is customer service and reliable staff and making everybody happy and doing everything you can to make people happy.
Craig also ran through some of the things he advises his customers to do when bringing their sleds in for service, whether that service is at the beginning of the year, mid-season, or even at the end of the winter. Now, when it comes to service and booking service, we're in kind of that time of year where the snowmobile season is just ramping up.
Yep.
That's got to be your most crazy time. Like right now is your most crazy time of year.
It is. Usually
Just pre-season.
Well, the preseason stuff usually happens before Christmas. Right now, we should be in the season where guys have been out for their first ride, and if they haven't had their snowmobile service, they're having some mechanical issues, and then it ends up at the dealership, or you get the odd whack and crash already early in the season, and it needs an A-arm or this or that. So it does make for a busy time of year. You know, scheduling service is crucial. You know, nothing worse than the guy phoning you on Wednesday and saying, oh, I'm going to go on a trip on Friday. You got to leave yourself more time. Things are very busy.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say. Scheduling on your part is key to keep the crew in the back hustling and getting vehicles in and out. But can they bring you the sled in the summer? Should they be bringing you the sled in the summer? Or maybe in the spring just after they finish riding it to avoid the rush?
The consumers, actually, there's a couple different mentalities in the consumers. A lot of guys will bring us their sled in the spring, and we'll go through and service it and actually summarize it. So basically, all they got to do in the fall is put fresh gas in it. Hopefully, they've maintained the battery over the summertime, and they should be good to go for the season. Then you have the other group of consumers that'll bring them in usually September, October, November, and they'll have a pre-season service. The shop is busy that time of year, but they're not in a rush to get their snowmobile back. So then they get serviced and they're good to go for the complete season, unless they're gonna get ready for a big trip and then they might see the sled again. And then you got the guys that have waited till last minute and they wanna bring it in the week before they're gonna go on their first real snowmobile trip.
Is this kind of like us, actually? STV's sort of like that.
Yeah,
a little bit like us.
Well, when are you leaving, Jeff?
In like 3 days.
Oh, good. It's a good thing we're ready for you.
That's how it goes. They also have the experience and knowledge to look for issues that you or I might miss on a quick mechanical inspections. Issues that could only be specific to certain models alone that you need to be aware of. I wanted to ask you some questions about what it takes for a mid-season maintenance, or maybe a maintenance that somebody should be doing just before they're going on a big trip somewhere.
They should be checking their wear items, sliders, wheel bearings, carbides on the skis, just any play in the steering. If you're going to have a steering issue, you want to correct that. You don't want it to break off and fail.
Yeah.
You know, just overall drive belt condition you want to inspect. You don't want to have a cracked drive belt where you're going to have a failure first thing in your trip.
Exactly. Now, with your experience, what are some of the failures that you would see sort of in that mid-season? So let's assume that somebody's already had, been looking after their sleds. They've done either an end-of-season maintenance and summer storage, so it's ready to go in the fall, or maybe they've done a fall maintenance, but they've put a few hundred or maybe even 1,000 miles on their snowmobile so far. What are some of the things that somebody should be looking at kind of in the middle of the season here?
Yeah, well, again, your drive belt's your most important part of the snowmobile. Your sliders, you don't want them wearing out. Visual of your axle bearing, it's something that can fail on a regular basis. Carbides play in your suspension. Any leaking shocks you might want to look at. That sort of seems to be a failure middle of the season.
a small visual kind of in the middle of the season and repairing small parts and small problems before they become big problems.
That's right.
Is real key.
It's because no one wants to break down in the middle of the trail, right?
No.
Everyone wants to have a good trip and have a good time, and sometimes you have to spend a little money to have a good time. And
Exactly. You're never going to prevent any possible failure from happening. Snowmobiles are mechanical
That's right.
beasts, but to do the best you can to try to avoid a preventable breakdown, maybe. On STV, I try and cover some of the basics of snowmobile repair, maintenance, or modifications, but I'm limited with time, so I can't always do a step-by-step. Instead, I'm hoping I can give you some basic knowledge and some confidence to tackle technical jobs like this on your own. It's also satisfying to do your own work, but sometimes you might need an expert, and dealerships like The Edge are where you'll find them. Coming up after the break, this bad boy's coming out of the crate.
This segment is brought to you by iGrip Studs.
So far we've been working on older sleds. Now I want to shift focus to the new stuff and what goes into unwrapping a brand new snowmobile and getting it ready for you to take home and ride. Now, do you ever get requests from customers? It's like, I don't care if the sled's still in the box, I'll take it home and I'll PDI it myself. Do you ever get that request?
Not too much in the snowmobile industry. We don't see that too much, and we like to build the sleds and PDI them ourselves. It's very important that the mechanic goes through and make sure everything's 100% before they go out and ride it. Not that we don't trust the consumers. A lot of consumers are very tech savvy and capable of wrenching on their own stuff. It's just the responsibility of a dealership to make sure that thing's 100% before it leaves.
Now let's back up. What does PDI actually stand for?
Pre-delivery inspection.
And I mean, that's what you guys are doing. I mean, it's a pre-delivery, so it's been delivered to you,
Yep.
but hasn't been delivered to the customer yet.
There's a lot of steps before that happens.
I was just going to say, if you can give me an idea of some of those steps that you guys have to go through.
For sure. So Polaris is smart. They use a returnable crate program. So they come shrink wrapped in a steel crate. Crate gets opened, the shrink wrap comes off the sled. Sled gets unbolted from the crate, removed from the crate. The crate gets folded up and shipped back for Polaris, and they can reuse that crate. Then we got to put the skis on it, the windshield on it, put the handlebars in the right position, and then it's a matter of dressing the machine up with any accessories the consumer wants. Then it goes through tech and has track tension, track alignment, chain case oil, go through the snowmobile front to back, ski alignment, and make sure everything works on it, and heat cycle it and blemish the brakes, and everything goes smooth. That sled should be ready to go.
I know it's tempting to insist that the dealer give you your brand new sled the second it gets off the truck, and it doesn't even matter if it's still in the box. You want to take it home, but really, that's not a good idea. Let the experts get it together and make sure it's right for you, and be patient. They want you riding your new sled as much as you want to be riding your new sled, and they're working as hard as they can in a very busy season to get you on the snow. I mean, it doesn't sound like a complicated process, but I mean, if somebody might think that all you got to do now is bolt a set of skis on, and they can do that themselves. But it's really much more than that, and it's the knowledge and experience of your staff to know that the machine is absolutely perfect when it leaves here, correct?
That's right, and it takes a keen eye to look on that sled to say, yeah, the factory has not missed anything. Everything is correct on the way it should be put together.
Yeah.
And to notice little things like you never know if clutch alignment might be out from the factory. Somebody had a bad day on the line, or there's a bolt loose, or something's not right. And it's important to go through it with a fine-tooth comb and make sure it is correct.
Exactly. It's really key to have that professional look at it that knows any potential little thing that could be going on, that can be addressed before it gets out to the consumer. Also, talk to me a little bit about sort of the process of you guys heat cycle it, and you said burnish the brakes. So what's that all about?
Well, so basically, we bring the sled up to operating temperature, make sure the cooling system is circulating properly, and then as far as blemishing the brakes is concerned, we have to seat the rotor to the pads, and the way that is done is basically the snowmobile's brought up to speed and then brought to a stop, and that's done several times so that the pads can seat to the rotors properly.
And again, it goes back to having that staff that really knows what they're doing.
That's right, and trying to educate the customer too to watch out for as well when they're on the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These sleds are almost ready to go. After the break, we're going to set them up with some gear bags.
This segment is brought to you by Wise Co Pistons.
In New Brunswick, we're riding for 6 days in 2 different riding areas, but we're not saddlebagging. Instead, we're going to be basing ourselves at hotels in those 2 areas. However, we're still going to add storage to our sleds because we still have a lot of stuff to carry. In New Brunswick, we'll be based in 2 different hotels in 2 different areas, and there will be a truck to get our gear from one hotel to the other. But some of the days are going to be fairly long, and we'll be riding in remote areas, so we do want to go with stuff packed on our machines. We're not going to need a huge amount of storage to transport loads of clothing and everything we need for a 5-day tour. Instead, we'll be carrying some just-in-case gear and snacks for the crew. And speaking of crew, we have to pack a bunch of extra expensive camera equipment to be able to capture the images we need to tell the story for STV, so we need room for that stuff too. It doesn't matter if it's expensive camera gear or your favorite pair of boxers, the storage accessories need to be robust and securely fastened to the sled. These things take a beating, and if they're not engineered and tested right, they're not going to last long. One of the systems we've had good luck with in the past is Polaris's own line of storage accessories, so we're installing a couple of tunnel bags that have a 46-liter capacity. This style bag is bolted in place with the T-slot fasteners provided. It's super secure, but not quickly removable. A step up from this type of bag that's bolted to the chassis is Polaris's lock and ride system. Accessories in this line use quick release fasteners to be able to quickly remove the gear and bring it with you into a hotel room if you're traveling, or to simply remove the accessories altogether if you don't need them. This line has all kinds of storage solutions for all kinds of riding, from trail to mountains. This stuff is designed to work and last a long time. Polaris even has some of the best in the business to help develop products that work for all types of snowmobilers. With the sleds all ready to go, I'm more excited than ever to load these things up on the trailer, hit the road, and get to New Brunswick to ride. But that's going to be on the next episode of Snowmobiler Television.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Yamaha. STV has been brought to you by CKX, wear your passion. Schaefer's, specialized lubricants since 1839. Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Ready to get away?